Hey Ailish, just a video for you. I'm speaking quietly because I have guests upstairs. I've also done a few runs of this and there's been different problems each time, so whatever I get from this run I'm going to send to you, even if there's mistakes. So to start with, I'm going to open a file to use as my background, and I'm using a slightly different one just to keep things fresh so we don't get stuck on the original images and used to them. So I'm going to come in here and choosing this one as my background, same as what's there. Okay, the next one I want to layer on top and use a layer mask, so I'm going to place embedded the next image. And what I did was I downloaded one from the web of James Dean, who's an old movie star, and I'm going to layer him on top of this kind of boulevard situation. So here he is. Okay, and when it drops in first, I have the opportunity to make some quick adjustments, which I'm going to do to make him a bit smaller, maybe even a bit smaller again. Okay, so I've changed the size. I'm going to move him over onto the path there, just do those initial adjustments, and then click the tick box to sort of set the image there. Okay, so I'm going to just zoom in a little bit by pinching outwards the same way you would on your phone, and I'm going to zoom down a little bit. Next, I'm going to apply a layer mask, so just confirm that I'm on the right layer up here, so I'm on the James Dean layer, and I come over to quick select and do my usual, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more, my usual terrible job of selecting. I know that there's ways I can do better than this. So hang on. Control D to undo that. I'm going to try again. Okay, Control D again. I'm going to go up from the bottom. And that looks a little bit better. Now I ran out of space with my finger, so I'm going to come up here, click on the minus so that I can get rid of some of the extra stuff that I don't want included in the layer mask. Okay, so I've got rid of that more or less. I'm going to come back up here to the plus, quick select, and extend this line up to include the poor fella's face. Okay, so I've selected the area that I want to keep, and if I come over here now, I can apply the layer mask, which is the square with the hole in the middle, and it deletes the background and keeps James Dean for me. Okay, so the other way I could have done that is to have applied a layer mask now. I'm not going to do it just now, and then use the brush tool and paint in black to hide the background and paint in white to reveal the background. So that would be a more manual way of doing it instead of using the quick select. Okay, next I want to make some changes to James himself. So I need to reselect him in order to apply different transformations or selections. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Well, no, I'll adjust his head so it's not quite so fat. Okay. Okay, this is a good opportunity for me to remind you that over here are all my options for undoing. So if I click here, I see the history of all the changes that I've made. So I'm just going to undo that last select and leave him with the fat right ear. Okay, I'll pop the history back inside there. So over here again, I have the right layer selected. And I've selected part of the layer, which is James. If I come down here now to the black and white circle, I can do various different effects on him. So if I choose a solid color, right now the default is blue, but if I come over here to where swatches are, I'm just going to cancel this. If I come in here to swatches, I can choose any of the colors here instead. I've got to go back down and choose solid color again because I clicked away from it. So I could come over here and choose any of the colors in the swatches. I'm going to choose this lovely, actually I'm going to choose sort of an orange color. Okay, and I'm going to say okay. So when I've chosen the color, I have additional options available to me to further adjust not just the colour but down here in particular. If I just set this on, down here I can change the transparency of the effect I've just applied, so I can make that orange fill colour half, 50% transparent, 50% coloured in. And then if you click on the drop down here, there's lots of different choices as to how the light is distributed on the selected image that I have there. So you can play around with all of these and they'll give you different effects depending on, you know, like you can see that there's some that look like it's on a black and white background, a black and white screen. That one there just kind of makes it up pixelated. So you can use either of those after you have applied the effect down here. In addition to that, I might need to reselect. I think I do, yeah. Okay, so if I want to do some other changes to it, I do need to reselect him again. So I can come over to here, just make sure that it's on either the default or the plus here, and select him again. I'm not even going to comment on my abilities to select. I think there must be a tutorial somewhere I can do. Okay, James, here we go. So I could instead come over here and choose a gradient. And the gradients are used a lot, as I mentioned, for sort of showing where a light source is. So up here I can choose different shades, and if I click on the settings button here, I can select additional ones and add them to the list I have up here. If I scroll up here, I can choose some of the other ones that are there. So let's say if I did something like this and I say OK, and then there are, oh, I just lost my, hang on, lost my options there, and it's filled in the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to come back up to when I had my select of him. There we go. Okay, so I need him to be selected with the marching ants for me to be able to apply these effects. So if I click now on gradient and I choose this guy here, and then I have additional choices down here as to where the colour is coming from, where it starts, the angle of it. I could change angles here, I can move things around. You could also have it be reflected. I'm going to go with just the standard one at the top, the linear one. You can decide how strong you want the scale, and these are used a lot, but there's all sorts of separate tutorials just on using these. So it would be a separate instruction again, but they are used a lot to, you know, put all sorts of different light effects, like where a light source might be is can be done using gradients. So we can look at that again. Okay, just going to leave that as is. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to change it to make it more transparent. So you can see now it looks a little bit more as if there's light shining from over here, and that's one of the ways that the gradients are used. There's also adjustments here. They're also available up under the image up here, and some of them are available here, and that would be the standard stuff around lightness, brightness, how strong the colours are, things that you would see on a normal photo editing tool. So you can access those from any of those places. And the last thing we looked at was choosing your own colour swatches. So you click here and you can adjust the handles, for want of a better word, to find a palette that suits the message that you're trying to send with your poster. So that looks very much kind of like maybe health and well-being or a childcare centre. So once you have found a palette that suits, you know, is a colour scheme that suits your poster, you can then click on the little Rubik's Cube here and add that swatch over here, and then you can stay within those 5 colours for the colour scheme of your poster, and that way you achieve helps to achieve the message you're trying to achieve. Okay, I think that's most of what we covered. You can do new layers down here, you can delete them. There's various other functions over here. Whenever you choose one of these guys, it changes the menu up above, so just keep an eye on, you know, if you chose, say, text and you wanted to click and add text. Give it a second. You have, look, it's a combination of our two names. You can then play with all the different settings up there. And oh yeah, one last thing was copy. So if I come back to the quick select and I select James, or you know, I'm going to select something else. I'm going to select this. Look, I'm not going to spend time on that. Hang on a sec. Control D. Just collapse this away. I'm going to scroll up, and I don't want to add a plus. I want it to just be on select only. So back up here, sorry, here to the general select, because it was adding stuff to my previous. This happened to me before. Do you remember? I lost my, oh, it's selecting the text. Okay, well that's as good as anything, I suppose. What I wanted to show you was, if you right click, you can introduce a new layer with a copy of what's selected using layer via copy. Okay, I can't do it there because of the way the text is. But if you were to select another section, again, I said I need to just get this done and sent to you. So I'm gonna keep going. Okay, I'm still not getting. Okay, this was the issue I had before. So if you select something, you can then, I'm just going to select everything here at all. You can then, oh, I'm still back up here. Anyway, you can right click and you can choose layer via copy, which is what I just had. And it will create a new layer with a copy of that selected piece on it. Or you can come up here to edit and you can choose copy from here, and then you can literally just do a very straightforward paste on this existing layer as opposed to on a new layer. But just to be mindful that if you're doing any kind of hang on. If you're doing any kind of effects or anything like that, you can see there I did do a copy and paste. When I did the edit copy and edit paste, it just pasted it on top of it, but it did create a copy on the same layer. So that will work if you want to just put multiple things on the same layer, but just that then when you're making changes to those, you're going to be affecting the whole layer and you won't be able to undo them. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Hope you're having a good time on holidays, and I'll catch you again soon.